I'm Cigar Mike. I'm from Decatur, Georgia. My whole name is Mike Bennett, and this is my story. I smoke cigars, drink whiskey. I kind of do it for a living. It's pretty fun. I got into it because I was a restroom attendant. So I was the guy in the restroom that had the colognes, the mints, the Black and Milds, and the cigarettes. And a gentleman named David Stevens, who got me into the business, said, you know, if you sell cigars, you can make more money. And at that time, you could buy Macanudos, Partagas, whatever, $5 or $6, and I sell them for $20. So I was like, cool, I'm a hustler. All I need to know is the numbers, what's the math on it. So I started doing it, and then eventually I started smoking cigars. Wow, that was a game changer. I said, well, I'm only gonna sell and keep the cigars that I smoke, because if I don't sell them, I get to smoke them. And hell, somebody else pays for it. So, sounded like a good idea at the time. But I would go into different cigar stores depending on where my account was in different sides of the city. And I would buy 10, 12, 15, 20 cigars, wherever I needed. But I'm doing that a couple of times a week, which I didn't know at the time was an odd thing to do. Who knew? But I never hung out there. I would go in there, I'd buy my cigars, I'd leave. When I go to Walmart and pick up my mints and Black and Milds or whatever, I didn't hang out in there either. So it was the same thing to me. And a buddy of mine, Al Govan, Big Poppy, you know, I barely knew him at the time, and I bought some cigars. I was about to walk out the store, and he said, hey, MF, you know, he was like, you know, they put sofas in here for a reason. And I'm like, what you mean? He's like, sit down. Okay. So I sit down, start talking to him, meet some other good people there. And in that, I started meeting people who, you know, either own their own cigar lines, or they were representatives or brokers, and they worked for other cigar companies. And they would give me all these cigars, you know, it's before the whole FDA debacle, whatever you want to call it. And they would give me this stuff, and I said, yo, listen, you know I'm gonna sell most of this stuff. Like, if you want to just leave me with 2, that's cool. But, you know, I understand that. And they're like, no, try it out. I said, okay. And a lot of them just became my friends. And you know, we would, you know, when we were in different environments together, we kind of hang out. Back in 2008, I started going to the trade show. I think that year was out in New Orleans. And I got to meet a great many people, and, you know, they would come to Atlanta. We'd have these different experiences, or I knew that I could help them get into different lounges and things like that, because I knew the owners, because that's where I hang out. It's what I do every day. You know, and a little bit before that, I did my first cigar event. My first cigar event was cigar, scotch, and chocolate. Basically because I like those 3 at the same time, and I figured maybe a lot of people hadn't had it, so let's do it. So my buddy Dave, who was working at Ash Cigars at the time, said, okay, let's do it. We set it up. I had about maybe 42, 45 people came. It was nice. We had 3 different scotches, 3 different chocolates, and we had 1 cigar. And you were able to smoke the cigar and just get the different notes of having it with these completely different scotches and with completely different cigars. So I guess it turned out to be a success, because the question was, well, when are you doing your next event? And I was like, I don't know. I just did it because I felt like doing it. So I did another event. I released my own cigar. I think we sold maybe 1,000 of them, but it was just a pet project. So I did an event based around that. And in 2009, God bless, Patrick Doggrell, who had worked with in years past at the Gold Club, I was in Club Onyx, and he said, well, Mike, you know cigar smokers, and you know how to promote. Why don't you do an event here? I said, well, you know, okay, you know, I'm doing the bathroom thing. I'm doing good money at the time. I had 9 employees. I had 5 clubs. So I'm like, all right, maybe, you know. And I go back in Onyx during the day, and I would just sit there and do work or walk out, take a phone call, walk back in. You know, and he said, man, come in my office. I said, okay, Pat. And he basically said, yo, what the F are we gonna do? I said, all right, we'll do an event. He said, what do you want to call it? I said, Smokers Retreat. He said, okay. He said, what do you want? And I named like 10 things I wanted. And the first thing he told me was, you're not getting this, you're not getting this, you're not getting this. I said, okay, whatever. In my mind as a promoter, I got 70% of what I wanted in one conversation, so we're good. So June 2009, I do the first Smokers Retreat at Club Onyx. I have 42 people there. I know each and every person that's there, all friends of mine. And some other friends of mine had given me cigars to be able to give out to people there. So what we did was we told everybody the first 100 people get a free cigar. And like I said, there was no FDA, there was no compliance or anything at the time. And there are some really, really integral people. Sean Williams, who's with Cohiba now. Rick Ardito, and him and Jonathan Drew, they were working together at the time. So Rick Ardito, Jonathan Drew, Steve Dickerson is with Davidoff at the time, Chris Harper, Tabacalera Perdermo, and Oscar Rodriguez, GTO Cigars. And these cats would call me every month to make sure that I had cigars to give out because they believed in my event. And, you know, the first 6 months of that event would not have existed without them. And I was blessed and fortunate enough I was the first person to do day parties in Atlanta. I had the longest running day party in Atlanta. We went for 10 years. We went from 2009 to 2019 with that event. And we had an amazing time. We had a lot of athletes, entertainers, doctors, lawyers, and it was just a place. It wasn't a strip club at the time. It was a place where we all got to be in the same place and, hey, let me get you a drink. Hey, let's sit down and talk about this business, or just kind of pick up where you left off. So that was a great space. So let's go to the whole Cigar Mike thing. So back in the days, I'm telling you, I just go to all these different cigar shops, and I just, be talking to people. Hey, I'm Mike. Hey, I'm Mike. Hey, I'm Mike. And another buddy of mine, Cedric Ward, he said, nah, man, that's Cigar Mike, man. You got a question about cigars you want to know about? Ask this guy. That's Cigar Mike. And we all just kind of laughed it off. Not even a week later, I'm on a different side of town in a different place. He's not there. And I walk in and you're talking, okay, hey brother, how you doing? How you doing? Hey, I'm Mike. And Kat said, oh yeah, that's Cigar Mike. And it just stuck. Just people started calling me that, and it probably took me over a year to even start answering to Cigar Mike, because I'm like, you talking? Okay, yeah. And what made me do it or made me even start introducing myself like that, I was sitting in Highland Cigars during the day and just sitting next to a brother, we smoking a cigar. He's talking, he's from Philly, and hey, I'm from here. And one of my friends walked in and said, Mike, you got a flyer for your event on Friday? I said, yeah, and I gave him a flyer. And the gentleman saw the flyer and he said, you Cigar Mike? And I said, well, yeah, that's what people call me. He said, man, you should have said that. He said, man, we know about you in Philly. Why you know about me in Philly? Well, apparently a gentleman that he knows had come down and actually been to the Smokers Retreat and was introduced to me, and I said, hey, welcome to Atlanta. Outside of being Cigar Mike, this is my city. You know what I'm saying? So, the gentleman had a good time. We had drinks, we had cigars, and he, I guess, expressed that to some people in Philly, and so the name started to spread, and I go different places, and people go, oh, the internet's an amazing thing. And people go, oh yeah, you're Cigar Mike. And I go, hey, how you doing? And I just, get a cigar. smoke a cigar and enjoy myself, because that's pretty much why I'm there. And it just kind of blossomed. I mean, it turned into something that, like, I had no control of it. None. There was no plan for Cigar Mike, and I'm gonna be this, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna put up these posts and do this. I'm the worst at social media. I'm horrible on Instagram. I'm horrible on Facebook. And everybody, you gotta post this. I'll be gone for a whole week and don't post anything. I just forget. I mean, I'm hanging out, I'm having a good time. So there was no plan. And at a point, if you're a brand, either you're gonna take control of your brand and you're gonna use it properly, or somebody's gonna use it for you. And it's gonna be to your detriment, or definitely not to your benefit. So I sat down and I said, okay, Mike, what the hell are we doing? And I thought about it like for weeks. Like, what do we, and it came to me, just woke up one morning and I was getting ready to light a cigar, and I said, this is entertainment. It's what you've always done. I mean, I started out in the nightclub business 30 some odd years ago. People want to be entertained. And if you can entertain people and educate them at the same time, then it just makes it that much better. So my job or position in the culture is to bring people in to an event, to an experience, and we're gonna have a great time. But in that experience, well, here's a different spirit. Here's a different cigar. By the way, there's the blender of that spirit. There's the owner of that cigar brand. So now you start to associate. The next time you see that particular spirit, you go, oh man, I was at Cigar Mike's event and I had that spirit and I had this cigar. Oh man, I had a great time. And if you think back in your life, you always can associate something that you had a great time with. You know, what you were eating or drinking at your 25th birthday party when your cousin flew from halfway across the country that you hadn't seen in 5 years. You can associate everything involved with that. So I just try to create experiences, and hopefully people enjoy them. Hopefully they come back. But at the end of the day, I'm a regular dude. I'm from Decatur, Georgia. I'm just Cigar Mike. Well, once again, my name is Mike Bennett. Most people know me as Cigar Mike. Decatur, Georgia, Candler Road and Glenwood. You know what I'm saying? Still ATL's own. I enjoy being here. It's definitely an honor to be in front of this camera, to be in this space, because apparently I did something right. You know, through no fault of my own, probably 100% happenstance, but still, we're all here right now. Oh, and I did mention that I'm absolutely horrible at social media. So if you'd like to follow me, I'm cigar_Mike on Instagram, and I'm Mike Bennett on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't have fans or followers. I got friends. I got people I hang out with. If you come to Atlanta, hit me, DM me, like, yo, I'm in the city, and I'll pull up. And if I can't pull up, I have somebody pull up on you. But at the end of the day, I'm always the ATL representative, always Decatur bound, about the culture of cigars and keeping it moving forward. So, I'm Cigar Mike, and this is how I got here.